Hi everyone, I'm Steve from Gold Coast Tech Space. I'm going to give you a quick rundown on what is cloud. So cloud 101. Now everyone thinks cloud, they think Amazon Web Services, Google, Azure, things like that. So it actually started a bit before that. I don't know if you remember in the old days we all started trying to do web servers, and then you'd have your server, maybe sitting in your office, and then someone had the bright idea, maybe we'll share that server with someone else. And then so I get my server, he could have his server, we may be sitting on the same server, have a little PHP website, something like that. And that was kind of the start of where we started sharing resources on the internet. And then I guess the next level from that is where people said, well, we want to now start virtualizing things. So we have virtual machines where, my site would be separated from Heath's site. So I couldn't start walking over his file system and changing his website or something like that. And that's really where virtualization started. And we had virtual hosts, virtual private hosting, which still exists. So you have lots of companies like DreamHost and things like that, where you can do virtual hosting of websites or any apps. The next level after that, though, is where cloud really started. And we had this thing called infrastructure as a service. And this kind of really was championed by Amazon Web Services, which spawned out of Amazon.com. And what they were trying to do is do like what we were doing before with virtualization, but treat cloud and computing services as like your electricity bill. So you're paying on demand when you need it, by the hour, by the gig. So you can turn your server off, turn it on, and then you get a bill that is just for what you use. Which then allowed you to grow your website out if you've got a lot of traffic. Suddenly your book's featured on Oprah Winfrey or something. Suddenly your site can multiply itself times 10 and can grow. And then when the surge has gone down, your site can shrink back down to one server again. And you only pay for what you use. So this was infrastructure as a service, and that's still available if you're using Amazon. So we've got AWS, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, and Azure are the three main ones. Azure is from Microsoft, and there's also Oracle and a few others. AWS is probably the main one I know, but I do know the others. So if you're doing infrastructure as a service, this is generally something called EC2, Elastic Compute. Don't ask me why there's a 2 on the end. They also have something called S3, which is storage, it's storage buckets, and a whole load of other what I'd call infrastructure as a service services. Now, then you go on a little bit higher up the stack, they have something for platform as a service. And there's a whole load of PaaS services around. Amazon also offer them as well, but you've got companies that offer, cloud services for running, say, Ruby on Rails website or something like that. Or there are databases that are what I call platform as a service. So things like DynamoDB, which is like a NoSQL database. You don't need to actually understand how the database is hosted under the covers. You just need to be able to program to put something into that database. So there's a whole load of PaaS services. Amazon has a whole load of them. I'd probably say RDS, that's Relational Database Services, DynamoDB, DB, apologies for my writing, and a whole load of other PaaS services. So that's platform, software platform. Finally, actually there's a few more, but I don't go too far. You've got SaaS, software as a service. And this is where you've got a whole program that's in the cloud. And that would be, I guess, for applications, it might be something like Xero, if you're using Xero for doing your accounting. But also a lot of these cloud providers provide what I call software as a service services, such as high-end AI services, like recognition and things like that. They have things like QuickSight reports, which allow you to do reporting at a high level, like a website level, but you're still running on their cloud. And if you're a developer, you can develop. You generally, if you're working for a startup, you're going to be building some sort of software as a service product. They even have services for people who are building SaaSes now. So it all gets, so this is kind of the stack as it goes on. You've also got mobile app as a service. There's a whole load of other things as a service. But fundamentally, they're all driven by this. And these are built upon on top of that. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of knowledge about cloud. There's a lot to know. But you just got to remember that it's all as a service, right? It's all pay for what you use. And if you look at, say, AWS, there's something like 500 different services you can choose from. They're all at sort of different levels, so it's a minefield. Most of them are built on top of open source software. So if you've already used the open source software outside of cloud, often it's quite easy to use them within a cloud environment. That's it. Hope that was useful.
Thanks, Steve.